we are going to figure out the camera thing. Your battery said it was exhausted, and I was like,
we're trying. We really are.
They're going to get what they get. Anyways, hi, and welcome back to Coming Out Creatives podcast.
Sorry,
our podcast. We do whatever the hell we want. My name's Jayvon.
I'm Jordan.
I'm not... Girl... It's been a long day. We struggled with that first recording. Which y'all won't know about.
Yeah.
But it's just been a day. It's a good day.
It seems easy because so many white men do it. But this electronics, the software and the live stream and the little Charlie XCX thing they've got right here, like it's just a lot. Simply too much for me.
No, it's a lot.
So technical.
It's a big skill to learn. Yeah. So today we got a lot on the table. It's Pride Month. Woo! You're gay. We're gay. You actually might be straight. But yeah. Queerness. Sexuality. Obscenity.
Yeah, just a little bit about
what else?
Obscenity.
She texted me the topics.
We're going to talk about how we came out.
Oh, like a mini coming out?
A mini coming out. This is when we realized we were queer, what that means to us.
Okay.
We'll pretty much get to the whole point of life by the end of it. So
solving for life. You want me to go first?
I think you should.
Is it because I'm the queerest?
It's
not.
I
feel like you're the...
Exactly.
That's a good question. I really don't know who's queer.
No, you can just go first because I feel like yours was a little bit more turbulent, and I never fully was just like, here I am, I'm gay. It was just kind of like, yeah, the girl's obviously gay.
Okay. For me, I've always known. I never really came... Well, that's a lie. I feel like you will always come out regardless when you are a LGBTQ or queer individual. We're just going to use queer. When you're a queer individual, I feel like you're always going to come out for the rest of your life, no matter what.
Yeah.
Do you feel that way?
Yeah, I mean, I just think your sexuality and your gender identity and things like that are so flexible and on a spectrum that, yeah, I think throughout your life you can come out a million different times. I feel like we're jumping so far into the deep already. No, but I do agree that I don't think gay people should have to be coming out constantly. We think that there's constant evolving with queerness and personhood, I guess.
Yeah.
And your identity.
Well, for me, I had a crush on... Name drop, probably bleep. I had a crush on him in middle school, and I guess I wrote him a note? Question mark?
That sounds right.
I love writing notes.
We was writing notes back then a lot.
I write notes. Yeah. I even wrote Thomas a note.
You'd have whole notebooks with friends.
Yeah.
Remember? And you just pass them back and forth.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had those with 5 people.
But yeah, so I wrote a note. And I guess it was basically confessing that I had a crush on him, yada, yada, yada. And I was going to plan to give it to him. And I guess it was in my backpack in Patty. It's always been interesting because I never felt like I actually had a coming out story. It just kind of happened.
Right.
Except, and this is trauma, and I will go a little bit more into my own YouTube a little bit more about it, because it could literally take up the whole day. But essentially the gist is my aunt found out. She didn't care, never told me that she found out until when I was still living with my mom and something happened and she was upset, or I had that conversation and she did cry. I remember sitting on the couch and everyone crying, coming out, and I was like, this is rough.
This is rough.
Then,
that sounds like shit.
Then something happened, and then my mom was like telling Patty, like, do you know he's gay? And Patty was like, yeah, I been knew. And I was like, how the hell she know? And it's because she found that note that I was supposed to give to Trevor. And I guess it fell out of my backpack. She read it and was like, I guess I'll hold on to this. So that was at least with like my immediate family.
Mm-hmm.
My friends, it was just kind of like known
Yeah.
that I liked men, but also liked women.
Like, he's gay, yeah.
Because I do, like, I do claim bisexuality at the end of the day. There is a lot of bi erasure around me.
Yes.
That people love to erase, especially my own potential husband, hopefully fiance one day. But no, like I've been in obviously a committed relationship with a man for 7 years, but
yeah.
And then another thing is like coming out at work. I feel like I don't necessarily come out at work. I just try to be more myself.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I was like, you will always continue to keep coming out. And then a funny coming out part of my journey is that one of my cousins found out that I was gay. And I guess like told our great grandmother and like went over and was like, I can't believe Jay's gay. And like was crying that I was gay. And I was just like, it's really not that deep. And like then it was like a taboo. Like I really was like the first one in my family that was like, yeah, I'm gay. Like I don't care. I have another cousin who was like my own guru, I guess, because he was like, oh, he's gay and the family doesn't care. I know they know, but it wasn't talked about. But me, I was like, no, we're going to talk about it.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about it. It's me. I love it. Love that.
Love being gay.
I love being gay. It's great.
Bye. There is so much, not only by erasure, but this like the villainousness of bisexual people.
Because the greediness?
Yes.
I know, that's so bad.
Literally illustrated like these people who are like, we need everything.
And it's not the case. It's just, I understand that part of me is still attracted to women. And if I was given the opportunity and was not in the situation of me being in a committed relationship with my man. Wow, I really want to use that word today. Dropping hints. It's like Kim Kardashian.
I'm dropping hints that I'm single. I'm single.
I'm ready for marriage. But damn, this ADHD girl is bad.
Yeah, it's bad today.
It's bad today.
But even though you're gonna marry a man, you're bi.
I still love women.
Yeah.
I love a woman. Like
a woman.
Yeah. It's just like we talked about in the other episode about Mother's Day, like women are powerful.
Yeah.
That literally is, I just think it's just beautiful.
No, you're just attracted to what's up.
To what's up?
To what's up. Like what's popping in the room. What is there to look at? What is there to see?
Well, I think also I love an androgynous look too. So that's where I get conflicted. Ooh, I was about to go into a deeper topic, but
what?
I was going to talk about my attraction or understanding my attraction to trans men or trans women.
Okay.
Because that's something I never thought that I would potentially be attracted to. And that is going back to the Catholic shame, Catholic guilt, and not understanding sexuality and how it presents and desires and interests. Yeah.
Well, I have this bisexuality where I'm interested in femme boys and masc women. So, or really femme women. So in general, femme on both sides. But I do kind of love like a teddy bear sometimes too.
I don't think I like femme.
You're not a femme? I don't want like a twink, but I want like a little, like, you know, the TikToker Levy and William, the couple, she's got red hair. He looks like a twink. Well, that seems like a queer relationship that's hetero, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So, like, kind of like that vibe is sort of the guy I like. But that type of guy can also be in a masculine, like, hairy chest vibe.
Presented. Or
Yeah, like,
presentation?
Yeah, dad bod vibe, you know, like.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. I guess I don't just like those two things that I said. I guess there's more than.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, sexuality, desire, interest, it for me has evolved from my initial, like, me coming out and being like, oh, I like men. And then it's like, well, I'm also attracted to trans men, or I like women. I'm also attracted to trans women, like, to an extent.
Yeah.
Which is, I don't know if that's going to be in the podcast. It should, because that's truthful and honest. But once again, that's like, well, it's that Catholic shame. I feel guilty for saying that. In general,
like, I wish, like, because since sexuality to me exists on such a spectrum and gender is constructed and then, but also sort of like manipulated to be around a sort of sexuality principles that society is sort of made up and sort of reinforced together. But I do think that the labels are pretty arbitrary. Like, I kind of wanted to make this point anyway, because I feel like a lot of the conversations lately, like how Billie Eilish kind of came out as like bisexual or whatever, like JoJo Siwa and her little tiff with a man, like, sexuality is, or just like, and I think we like argue sometimes about whether two femmes can call one of their partner's boyfriend or not. Like, I feel like we have those conversations all the time. Like, sexuality and love and eroticism and relationships, like, we've been trying to write about that and like put definition and meaning onto those things for thousands and thousands of years. Like, sexuality is such a broad spectrum of things and of like and it really does flow. Like, honestly, for some people are more fluid than others. I consider myself fluid, I guess, or queer. But in general, there is a lot more movement and like, you know, and different relationships can be in a sense romantic without the sexuality part, too. Like that show Hacks or whatever.
I haven't watched.
You haven't seen? Okay, well, the old lady and the redhead are like clearly in love into some regard.
That's what I was getting from the gist.
There's also like a motherly bond. Like, there's there's
layers
to everything.
Yeah.
And that's why I don't think I ever came out, because like I was like, I don't know if I'm gay, bi, queer, a boy, like, you know what I mean? Like, I think that I always knew that it was really up and down for me. And there was really times where I was like just interested in men, just interested in women, kind of like, oh, fuck around, let's see what happens.
Do you feel like maybe then the pansexual label works for you, or no?
I don't know.
Or she said no labels.
I don't, that's the thing, is like, I really don't feel like I fit in. I also think, isn't pansexual like you are in love with the gender, or you're in love with the personality before anything else or something?
I think so. I'm really bad with my queer.
I don't know, because but I don't know if that's true. Like, I'm attracted to somebody's physical presence. But I've also before been like, oh, am I demisexual? Where it's like you have to be emotionally invested to kind of like get the same sort of sexual pleasure.
Yeah.
I have thought about being that I was that before. Like, I remember, but I think it was just like after an initial breakup where you're just like, oh, you're at least having different sex, but you're not necessarily having better sex. So you're like, oh, am I that? But I don't think that's true. Like, I think I can have a perfectly pleasant sexual experience without being in love with someone. So.
Gotcha. Same.
But I think that bisexuality for me most similarly depicts
what you kind of feel.
But really, I would say I would call myself queer before I called myself bi, I think. Fair. In public. Just because I don't know, like, also, I do think that there's like all these negative connotations with bi people, like, that, like, in multiple,
I mean, even you see it in media too. I don't remember what show I've seen recently, but like, we're like, just dealing with that.
Yeah.
I wonder, is it just the greediness, or is it like people don't believe in bisexuality because they inherently just believe they're greedy or evil people?
Like, I think that, well, because I do think it affects in a double standard. Like, I think, for men, like, they're like, oh, if you like guys even a little, like, you're fucking gay.
You're
like, it's like this,
women, it's hot.
It's like this for men, it's sort of like a loss of masculinity in a way. And once you lose a little bit, you've lost too much of it to be considered, you know?
Right.
But with women, I think it's more like the loving women side of it isn't treated as seriously, I don't think. So to them, it's just like this like kink that they think certain women have. So I think in some regards to the women, it's more like, you're like the villain because you really are going to be with a man, but you can kiss and do sexual things with women. But for like bi men, it's more like, you guys have a different set of masculine versus not, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Like a standard to meet.
Yeah, like I just feel like women can be a little bit more lovey-dovey, open, whatever.
Yeah.
But men are either masculine or they're not, kind of, in the eyes of...
Well, it kind of goes into that whole, like, boys cry thing.
Yeah.
You know, like, men not being able to even just have, like, that emotional depth with their friends.
Yeah.
And, you know, all they talk about is, like, sports kind of stuff and not, like, the real life.
Yeah, the male loneliness epidemic.
Yeah.
Is that real?
What?
The male loneliness pandemic?
No, I think so. I don't really have, well...
I do think it's a bed of their own making.
I don't really know anyone personally that's dealing with it, but I have heard or seen, at least online, people where I could maybe identify they're going through that.
Well, isn't it like Inslo are lonely?
Yeah, there's that Netflix show.
What?
I'm going to ask our assistant to Google it. It has to do with incels on Netflix.
Adolescents,
yeah. Yeah. That. I never watched it, but...
Okay, the thing is like, I do think that the male mental health for men is like, I do agree that that's a problem and that the male suicide rate is pretty high. However, I don't know, like, it is really a situation of their own making. Like, I do think that, like, this whole masculinity thing is, like, let me see where I'm going here.
Are you trying to, well, do you feel like it's because of the environment they grew up with and the standards that they are needing to meet, and it also kind of depends on their parents as well? Because I feel like
no, because I think today it's really easy to be kind of swayed one way or the other too. Like, I just feel like there's so much like alpha male bullshit ass content out there for them to...
Andrew Tates and all that.
Yeah, the Andrew Tates, the Joe Rogans, the anything. The Barstool.
Yeah.
That took feminism back like 20 years.
I hate that it evolved into what it is now. Granted, it was still like that from the very beginning, but it wasn't...
But it was like that from the very beginning as like hee hee ha ha, but then as they grew, so did their influence and power, and their hee hee ha ha turned into chicks in the office or whatever fucking bullshit that is. Like,
I have no idea.
Him supporting Donald Trump and fucking misogynistic ass president. Like, but I don't think the male loneliness pandemic is real, because I'm like, well, maybe it's just like the dating in particular, so like the dating scene. I think that all of us are kind of at a place where obviously people needed to do the online dating during COVID. Like, it was already sort of happening or whatever, but it was really like, you kind of did it on the side, like to meet people. Like in college, we did it to go to parties. You do it just like pop around wherever you are.
Yeah. But
then the pandemic hit, and it kind of became like so many weddings, and people I know who are in long-term relationships met during the pandemic at the time, on an app. But now I feel like people are exhausted by them, but also people never really got over the COVID awkwardness, and people are not interacting in bars and stuff the way that we once did.
Yeah.
And so I do think that there's like this like friction right now and like a real big divide between men and women. Like I don't remember there being,
or even younger and older generations.
Yeah, I don't remember there being this much conflict or this much like, oh my fucking God, like what are these guys not understanding? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I'm feeling a lot more like that nowadays. Like even just looking, I think there's this girl on TikTok who does these like Hinge profiles where she just goes and circle things that are like contradictory. And it'll be like 40, it'll be like 40 years old. And then it's like, don't know my dating goals. Don't know what I want.
Yeah. You're like, you've been here
You're
how
40
long?
years old. You don't know what you want out of your fucking life, out of a relationship, out of a woman.
To have some idea. I think it's also crazy that people, and this has to do with also just being online in general, is that people have gotten so comfortable with just saying anything.
Yeah.
Oh, she got a point.
Shame. Bring back shame. So, sorry. So, I'm so sorry I interrupted you. I meant to talk about this in our Mother's Day episode, but the Suffolk County here in New York, they just posted like a billboard of 10 of these guys who own child support. And we're calling them deadbeat dads. And we're placing their photos next to the debt owed. And I'm pretty sure how many kids they have or what, or the age of the child.
That's messy.
Yes.
I love it. They say that we gotta get their money.
That is, because if you guys want to pass abortion laws, sure.
Right.
But we're going to pass a child support law.
Yeah.
But I will be not just the only one financially. If it's going to take two to tango, like y'all say, it's going to take two to tango for the rest of that goddamn life. Mandatory child support. And mandatory shame. We need to be shaming people more.
No.
Maybe we should just do that. Maybe we should do one episode where we just talk about all the bad fucking comments we've gotten. Literally today.
Yeah, that guy
said, want a girl who's ran through.
That's what I'm saying. Like, people literally feel like they have the right to just say whatever they want, and it's like, let's think. Like the people coming for me about the Pope thing, I'm like, I know it. Once again, initial reactions, but like, why are you trying to tell me how to live,
how to feel,
and you're judging me for a comment I made that I then went and said, "Oops, my bad. He meant this. Oh, okay, I understand." It's like, I'm willing to accept that. Like, why do people think they can just say whatever they want?
I would like to talk about a topic that seems kind of out there.
I got it.
Teens.
It made you giggle, huh? It made you laugh, though. Right. It made me cringe. And that's fine.
That's fine.
It moved you, is what I heard.
It moved you.
Thank you.
You hated it.
We're moving people.
You were afraid. You were moved. Teenagers should have access to sexual materials and sexual information and sexual media.
Well, yeah.
And by children, I mean, well, actually, I'm not going to give an age.
She said teenagers. Then she went to children.
Oh, I meant teenagers.
Yeah, I know. I was making sure that
8-year-olds, I guess, whatever.
Honestly, nowadays, once again, if your child has a phone,
yeah,
and they have access to the internet, and it's literally you ain't got no parental guidelines, they're looking up everything.
My friend has she's a doctorate in, I think it's human sexuality education, and in her book, she has this book essentially like the sexual development of ages like 0 through 21, and I believe by like 4 or 5 kids start taking an interest in where babies come from, and especially so when they have siblings.
Yeah, when like they come out and whatnot.
Yeah, no, there's like a general. It's
a curiosity.
Yeah, and you literally, and from the ages of like 3, you can start getting like sexual accentuations or sensations. I guess.
Well, that also has to do with like how children interact with like. The doll example is always used, like, I'm having them play together, mommy, daddy. Yeah. And like they can understand. I'm not a child psychologist, but from the little that I do know, like, even just that, like, they get the roles.
Yeah. Well, there's also
like
an intimacy with children from an early age as well. Like even like baths and like physical, like physical hugging, kissing, caring, like there's kind of an intimacy, not in a sexual way, but in a physical intimacy sense that they begin to have interest in their bodies and those things at a very, very young age.
Yeah.
But I'm essentially saying, because there have been a lot of laws, and I just did a school project on this, that are essentially trying to protect children from sex, protect children from sexual information, from sex ed, from sex toys, from pornography, from books in the library that mention things like masturbation. And the reason that these, for one, are just like fucking perverse, and two, it's just a waste of time because they're trying to almost distract us with making us kind of infuriated over kids shouldn't have sex or kids shouldn't have access to sex. We're saving them, blah, 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 is really like a distraction from the fact that children are dying via guns. Children can't read right now. The literacy rate is at an all-time low. 1 in 3 children are homeless or in poverty or in hunger. And that they're trying to save us from children or from teenagers fucking.
Yeah.
If you don't have early sexual experiences that are positive and void of guilt and shame have positive outcomes for the rest of adults' lives, sexual and romantic relationships.
Well, okay, so this kind of falls back into like how we first started more of the coming out into the sexual journey and whatnot.
Yeah.
For myself, I used to, and here comes the Catholic shame again, demonize myself for a lot of like the early experiences that I've had with sex.
Yeah.
And sadly, some of mine are from SA or sexual assault from like an early age and whatnot. And, you know, I'd always be like, well, shouldn't be experiencing these things now or be as active as I am at an early age because once again, save yourself for marriage.
Yeah.
Wait for the right person, blah, 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 you know. And as I evolved, you know, that I would beat myself up, especially in college, like when I was the most active and I would just like beat myself up because, you know, I was like, well, like, why can't I express myself or whatever? I lost the fucking thought.
Oh my God, babe. Okay, wait, you used to feel guilty about having so much sex or because your early sexual experience were like dangerous or like
they were dangerous, but like essentially my mindset changed of how I felt about sexual activity in general, whether I was doing it, other people were doing it, or if I was like viewing it in media and whatnot. Like I really had to like remove myself from that Catholic shame, that Catholic guilt. But I would have not got there as fast as I did if those things didn't occur because it gave me the experiences and the knowledge of like how to deal with and to tie back to like that's why they should have it.
There's something that I'm thinking of and I'm wondering if this ties together because I'm picking up what you're putting down. Something that I always remember out of Euphoria season 1 is when Jules goes and she has that sexual experience with that much older guy at like a sketchy hotel. That is the kind of stuff that happens when you're nowhere you can talk about your sexuality safety, talk about what's normal, where you see, especially if you are in a household where you don't see normal sexual or romantic relationships, like you can't read about it, you can't see it on porn, you can't so Jules goes, in theory, I think obviously this wasn't the premise of the whole show, but I think it would have been really impactful to almost see like, that is the type of sexual scenario you can have when you live in ignorance about sex and relationships and power dynamics and consent.
I'm glad you were able to pick up what I was putting down. That's exactly what I was trying to get at.
Because those kind of those dangerous or almost like when you suppress and then you binge a lot where you like hook up with a lot of people at once, that kind of that vibe happens because we don't have regulated relationships with sex and sexual health.
Literally what I was trying to get at is that like if I was given the tools and actually taught how to take care of really my own body. I would have maybe not put myself in some sketchy situations like I did. I would have respected myself a little bit more. And that's, as you're talking about all these laws, like being, you know, come up with or trying to be passed, like that is going to be the result. More people are going to find themselves in harmful situations.
Yeah. No, sexual assault will rise because even the implementation of sexual health education has like a decrease on intimate partner violence, like possibilities. So like 100%, any further suppression of sexuality and a disengagement with information such as consent, which is something that I think South Carolina, or possibly, I'm not sure, some sort of senator has gone after as well. Like, that, I mean, it's 1 + fucking 1 in that situation. Like, obviously this is going to happen, and not even, and I'm not saying that it's like the system's fault for a single instances of sexual assault, but most violence happens under severe socioeconomic distress. The same happens with sexual assault, especially when both parties are uneducated about their sexual rights, autonomy, sexual health, etc.
Well, I've encountered a lot of people who maybe when they talk about their experiences, didn't realize that they were being sexually assaulted. And that's has to do once again with having, when you go into a sexual activity with anyone, you're trying to, especially early on, you're trying to like please them.
Yeah, there's like a sense of performance aspect or whatever too.
Yeah, and you lose that other layer of, once again, just protecting yourself and realizing I'm losing the autonomy over my body at this point. This is where, like, pinpointing it. A lot of people don't know how to pinpoint, because as I've reflected back on my own, I'm like, oh, this is where it started. That's where I should have, which it was really young. So obviously you can only do so much when it happens to you early on. And
when you're young too, you're trying to prove a point with sex one way or another by not having it, having it, because it's such a pure thing, especially when you're growing up. Like, everyone's talking about it in high school. Like,
she's gotten around.
That's what all those teenage shows are about, like Secret Life of Teenager, Degrassi. Like, they're all about what the kids are having sex, or Euphoria, if they're fucking or not, literally. Like, it's all about teenage fucking. So like, you're talking about it a lot, especially in those younger years.
So why not just give them the resources?
No, I honestly think it's a distraction. They're trying to say that they're saving children, but they're literally not saving children. If they were saving children, they would have, we wouldn't be having
mass shootings.
Those shooters would be taken seriously, like they're taking fucking Luigi as terrorists.
Or Rodney Hinton. Right? That's the dad. That's his name. Right?
I believe so, Rodney Hinton.
To kind of go back to with this, I think we were talking about the incels and male loneliness and just sexuality in general. I think that also plays into how given tools taught your body autonomy and living your true self. Because I think when parents are a little bit more hands off with their children and let them express themselves however they want, if a boy wants to wear a crown or wear a dress or put some makeup on like mom does, like those are those pivotal moments of showing them that it's okay to be different. And then if that's not taught, or if at least given to them in a safe space. What is the
presents
fucking word?
It as, or makes a container a safe container.
Yeah, you get the gist.
Yeah.
Making it a safe
authenticity.
environment.
Like when you allow those moments to happen.
That is, like, if that doesn't occur, that does lead to that male loneliness. That does lead to the bullying of other queer people. Because a lot of people who used to bully me for being queer and so open with my wanted to slice themselves, or nowadays are gay.
That's the thing too. Like, I really, it's so funny to me. Nobody talks more about gay people than gay people. Like, if you genuinely think that homosexuality is something that you have to that we as a society and as an individual have to constantly combat, it is because you are literally combating it internally. 1000%. Because I don't think about
I don't think about straight people.
No.
At all. They have no culture.
Other people have sex with.
This is to not say I hate the straights. Just saying. There's a difference when you're queer. There's a sense of community. There's a language you understand. There's something. Straight people, I see it all the time. It's on TV. It's been on TV for the longest amount of time.
They want everyone to be hetero, and they want everyone to just be what they were born with, girl, boy, and because we are so much easier to control if we're all exactly fucking alike, and if we all look alike, and if we all think alike, and if we all do the same things, and blah 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 blah. We are so much easier to grind through the meat grinder when we're like, yeah, we have to get married and then spend a lot of money in the marriage. Then we have to produce 2 little labor consumers, and then we have to it's so much easier to control that type of population where everybody is doing the same thing at the same fucking timeline at all times than it is to have childless, queer, transsexual people who are constantly pushing the envelope of conformity. Right. So, yeah, it's a lot easier to be, or it's not easier to be, but it's a lot easier for them if we're cisgender hetero people.
Well, that kind of also plays into the whole, I can bring up the topic of how now there's the trans band in the military again. They're not strong enough for the military, but they're too strong for sports.
So, yeah, I mean, you're never going to have, I mean, I obviously think that if a trans person wants to be in the military, they should 100% have the right to do so.
Yeah.
Honestly, if they don't fucking, they're not fighting, they're actively trying to kill and deprive these people of work and housing and rights and things like that, and recreational activities such as sports.
Yeah.
So this country is not worth dying for.
No.
Honestly, for gay people and trans people, your rights are absolutely
always on the table.
Are always on the table. Your body, your sexuality, your autonomy. If you're queer, trans, or a woman, or anything or
doesn't matter.
Anything. Your rights and your autonomy is consistently on the table, on the chopping block. I would absolutely, they are the last people who should have to be dying for this fucking country. Yeah,
I agree.
So, obviously,
I mean, I feel the exact same way.
That, too, is a waste of time. They're here, hate transsexuals, don't hate the rich that are running the country.
Literally.
Hate trans women.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that also, I'm just not a big fan of the military complex that America has. But that's even the same thing for, my sister, for a second. She's like, well, maybe I'll go into the military. I said, no, girl. Our ancestors gave too much for this country for us to be dying for whatever it is right now. Because it's just not, not worth it.
And honestly... And I don't know what the percentage is, and I would bet that the percentage is probably skewed, but I also would guess that there is a lot of people from poverty that are in the military.
Because of the whole GI Bill, and the promises are being made, and from firsthand, even just dealing with patients, the care veterans get is not good care.
No. The reason they don't care is because they're poor people.
The VAs are so bad. They need so much reform. They need a lot of resources. If we're dealing with a shortage of nurses and doctors within our own hospitals, of course we're dealing with that also in our veteran affairs as well. And, it's always so funny that the MAGA people think that he's for veterans. And I don't know too much that he has helped for veterans, but he really ain't pushing that agenda because he's focused on all these other topics.
No, he hasn't. He's a draft dodger. He's a piece of
they're literally gonna come knock on our door.
I know. But the thing is especially in places like Texas, the military is a lot more present. So it's really kind of a subliminal thing. If you have nowhere else to go, come to the military and you'll get this check and this benefit and blah, blah, blah. Yeah. But if you actually get fucking hurt and disabled, we're going to leave you on the street and to die.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Because literally, all majority of the time when I see a lot of homeless people, they're either one from educational debt or a veteran.
Yeah.
Or just debt in general. That debt medical in America debt, really does medical debt.
Bankruptcy debt, yeah.
But yeah, it's usually a veteran, and it's always like, I'm a veteran. I don't have a leg because I lost it at X, Y, and Z.
Yeah, protecting your freedom.
And then they're here on the street, and it's like, our government doesn't care. They love to pretend they do, and the people who support Orange.
Yeah. Yeah, you think just because you say thank you for your service to some guy on a plane, you're a fucking patriot, or you're supporting those people? No. No, you wouldn't be actively voting against mental health services and Medicaid and
because
housing for veterans and et cetera, et cetera. Like,
what's the thing the most marginalized person, like, I forget. I tried to say this the last episode, one of these other episodes, but like,
isn't it like they're black, they're queer, they're trans, they're disabled, they're a veteran?
The hijabi amputee.
Yeah. It's really like such a shame that there is such this like nasty rhetoric happening again about queerness when it feels like we're on such like a positive trajectory for so long in our lives. Like, it really felt like each year we're able to get a little bit more.
Literally, gay rights or gay marriage has only been around coming June 26, 10 years.
Yeah.
Just 10 years.
Yeah. And now, like, the way that we are talking about trans people is actually fucking demonic. Like, it's genuinely crazy because, like, at the end of the day, every single person is a person. Like, every single person is, like, a human being.
It doesn't matter.
And if you don't think that, like, human beings on a fundamental level, no matter who they are, what they do, don't deserve housing, food, and clean water and education, then you're in the wrong podcast, Big Tay.
You're the problem.
Yeah, you're not pro-life. You're pro getting here to Earth and saying, fuck you, figure it out.
My thing is, I can never wrap my head around that, like, yeah, the people who are, like, pro-life, but could give two shits about the people who are already here and suffering.
They're pro-life, but they're pro-death penalty. They're they're pro-life, but then they're, anti-free lunches at school.
Yes, that one really irks my soul.
That's so
because that really did come in handy. Like, I didn't grow up with the most money in the world. Don't get it wrong now. I know I'd be dressing to the tins sometimes. But no, I relied on my reduced lunch, my free lunch, breakfast. Like, that'd literally be the only time I ate.
Yeah.
Like, and kids shouldn't have access to that.
Yeah.
That's just so whatever.
We got a little off topic, but we are queer and we're here. We're not going anywhere.
Yeah. Do you want to wrap it up?
I think so. I just burped for like 10 seconds underneath my breath and it was weird.
Oh, gross.
Don't worry about it.
So yeah, we talked about
go scissor someone or something.
Ooh, there's two men
Peg
here.
A bisexual man.
No, girl, my hole is ripped.
Girl, I like couldn't even do it with you.
Oh, wow.
It's like now it's been too long since we've kissed or anything.
Intimacy dead.
Yeah,
we God.
let it die. We did. We used to make out a lot. Now
Jordan doesn't love
10
me.
Years.
Y'all just heard it here.
I mean, you're hot, but I just don't know if I want to peg you.
Wow. It's because of Thomas, right? If I was single, it'd be different.
No.
Wow.
It's the intimacy thing, like I said. If you don't use it, you lose it.
Wow. I just got dumped. Damn. Anyways, we talked about
queerness
coming out, obscenity,
and
politics. Sadly, it's always going to be in here. But yeah, let us know your coming out stories in the comments below if you want. If you have questions about coming out, let us know.
It does get better.
It does, to an extent. You become more comfortable.
Yeah.
Essentially. That's it.
Yeah, the performance changes. So
yeah, my name's Jayvon.
I'm Jordan.
This is Coming Out Creatives. Thank you again for coming here, joining us. Find us on Instagram and TikTok and YouTube at Coming Out Creatives. And our ads will also be below for our separate channels.
Ayo.
Love you. See ya.
Adios.
Bye.
Ciao, ciao, ciao. Ah! These are hurting my ears.